Hello. Today we will do healing on a very important topic. It's a very important emotion and it's slightly heavy, so I might put in some humor so that you guys don't become too much. So have you ever heard about the emotion grief? Now grief we always think when somebody's died, and for me I remember the first time when I experienced grief was when one of my grandparents passed away. And it was, I was very small. It was a little confusing because it was sort of a grievous thing. Somebody passed away, but it was the first death in the family. And I could see so many of my cousins in the house, so many of us. It was like a big party, but it was also grief. So the little kids, all of us, we didn't know how to express it. But I would see my grandma and my maternal grandma, my paternal grandma, they would just sit, and then I would see them sad for a moment, and then I would also see them chatting and having tea. So it was always confusing to me, and I would wonder, oh my god, they lost their husbands, and how can they stay awake the whole night? Because there was this ceremony, you had to stay awake the whole night to be able to grieve the person. But I would never be able to understand it. And then when I lost, growing up, when I lost more people, and at this age now, I realize what grief does to your body. There was this moment when I had lost a near one, and grief crept in after many days, and I was just standing normally, and I just felt like I would collapse. Everything was dead inside. And that is when I first experienced grief in real time. Grief is not just when somebody dies, grief also happens when a relationship dies, when a friendship gets over, when you have a dream that you've always had and you suddenly realize that you've not fulfilled that dream. Grief is merely a loss, and that loss can be for anything. Now, there is a difference between grief and sadness. Sadness is, I would say, a golgappa, and grief is like a big giant bhatura. So that's the difference. Both are made of oil and probably some wheat or suji or something, but they both have different effects. Golgappa you can swallow in one go, but a bhatura you cannot. You have to make pieces of it. So I'm being funny here just to lighten the situation. So if this is your body, and if your grief, the grief that you're feeling is stuck, it is very difficult to move on with your life. Now, if you are grieving a situation, if you are grieving the past, you are stuck. And it affects the future relationships that you will have, and it also affects the abundance that you have. So when people come to me for abundance healing or to manifest something, the first thing I scan is there any grief energy there? Because when there is grief in our bodies, we get stuck. So I am okay accepting that I have grief about many things. And sometimes you also have grief about certain things in the past, not just in this lifetime, but you also have been carrying grief from a past lifetime. So interestingly, one time someone came to me, and this person is a very spiritual person, and she was like, but I know, Gitika, I know what to do, then how can I be sad about it? But sometimes it is important to grieve, because in this life we have the tools, we have the space to grieve. You can put everything aside and cry for half an hour. You can do that. Maybe in past lives you did not have the opportunity. Maybe you lost someone and you could not get the space, opportunity to grieve. Okay? So, just like laughing is very important for our health, crying is also very important. Just be and grieve in the moment. Now I'm gonna do a EFT ritual with you. You can follow it, and even if you think I do not have grief, still do it with me, because you never know what thing might get cleared up. Okay, so are you ready? You know the deal. Just follow me, and today I think, however I'm guided, I'm gonna just alter it and put a special something in it. Okay, so this is our sore spot. Let us put our hands on the sore spot. Even though I have this grief in my body, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this grief in my body, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this grief in my body, I deeply and completely accept myself. This grief in my body. This grief in my body. This grief in my brain. This grief present on my face. This remembering how someone touched my face, how someone loved me. This grief in my throat, the ability to communicate. Maybe I lost my voice. Maybe I could not say what I wanted to say. This grief of carrying so much burden on my shoulders. This grief of birthing something. This grief of losing my children, maybe in this life or in past lives. This grief of taking responsibility. This grief of holding someone's hand and not being able to do so anymore. This grief of being loved. This grief of being mattered to someone. This grief of not being chosen. This grief of not being loved. This grief present in my entire body. Gamut. Close your eyes, open your eyes, eyes sharp down right, eyes sharp down left, rotate, rotate again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This grief in my body. This grief in my mind. This grief that is stopping me to move ahead. This grief that is not letting me see ahead. This grief that is stopping my smile. This grief of being not loved. This grief of being not chosen. This grief of being not good enough. This grief of being not loved. This grief of being not chosen. This grief of not being loved enough. This grief of not being enough. This grief in my entire body. This grief in my entire body. This grief in all my organs and chakras. Second round. This grief that doesn't let me move forward. This grief that is making me stuck. This grief that is making me stuck. This grief that is pulling me down. This grief that is pulling me down. This grief that is not letting me move forward. This grief in my entire body. This grief in my entire body. This grief of not being loved. This grief of not being loved. This grief of not being loved the way I want to be loved. This grief of not being chosen the way I wanted to be chosen. This grief of not being chosen. This grief of not being chosen. This grief of not being chosen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This grief of not being chosen, this grief of not being loved, this grief in my entire body, this grief in my entire body, this grief in my entire body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body, this grief in each and every cell of my body. Now the third round, we'll release in this. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief now. I don't need this grief. I let go of 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 this grief now. I let go of this grief now. I let go of this grief. I let go. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. This grief is stopping me and blocking me. I let go. I let go. I let go. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. One, two, three, four, five. I no longer need this grief. I know who I am. I don't need this grief. This grief has served its purpose. I now let it go. I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. I let go of this grief as the poop I don't want in my body. I'm not constipated anymore. I let go of this grief. I let go. I'm willing to release. I let go. I let go. I let go. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief now. Grief? What is grief? I let go of this grief. I let go. I let go. I'm so bored of this grief now. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. I let go of this grief. Absolutely, completely, I let go of this grief now. Close your eyes. Inhale and exhale deeply. I let go. I let go. I let go. I take my power back. It's within me. I let go of everything that is not serving me anymore. I let go. I accept myself just as I am. I know myself. I know who I am. And I let go. Okay? So thank you for being with us today. And you have a great day. And take care. And you can practice this as many number of times you want. Take care and do let me know how you find it.